Right, boys and girls. Now we are going to be discussing cattle and sheep farming. Cattle and sheep farming are very important in South Africa. In the early days, farmers in South Africa kept herds of cattle, and they were used and they were able to graze and move around as they wanted. But slowly, as our cities started to grow and the demand for beef, which we get from cattle, grew, then the farmers decided to establish proper cattle farming areas. There are many times when farmers cannot supply enough meat to all the people because of a drought or a natural disaster, and in those times we'll get our meat from other countries. And one of our neighboring countries, Botswana, actually supplies us with quite a lot of meat when we are in need. In front of us are three main breeds of cattle in South Africa. These three breeds are very common, and we use them for their beef and also for their leather. Let's look at picture number 1. This is an Nguni cattle. Picture number 2 is a Bosmara. And picture number 3 is an Afrikaner cattle. What do all three pictures have in common? Let's have a look. So first of all of them have 4 legs. And they are hoofed cattle. And they're actually ungulates, which means that they have 2 toes per hoof, per foot. Right. Now, if we look at the Nguni, it's a beautiful patterned cattle of brown and white. They also come in grey and black, grey and almost silver, grey and beige, blackened, brown. So they're beautiful patterns and designs. The other 2 are more similar in colour. They are deep reddy chocolatey color, and they're also used for beef farming. Right, now, an interesting fact is that some farmers choose to not let their horns grow. So when they're little, they actually use a process where they burn the horn, and it stops it from growing. It doesn't hurt the cattle, doesn't hurt them at all, but it just prevents them from getting into fights and scratching each other with their horns. Now, if we look at the Afrikaner, his body shape is a little bit different in that he's got a hump, whereas the other 2 are more flat. But things that they do have in common are their little ears, which are very, very, very powerful in hearing. They've got small eyes, but their eyes are actually able to look to the 330 degrees to the side, and then they've got a snout with 2 big nostrils, so they're able to smell very, very well. An interesting fact about cows, or cattle rather, is that their tail helps them with 3 things. The first thing is called locomotion, which is the movement of their body. It helps them in moving their body. The second thing is they use their tails to communicate. And the third thing is, just like us, we get irritated if a fly comes near us, we might swat it away with their hands. They use their tail to swat away flies from their rump or their backside. Right. Now, if we had to look at these 3 cows, which one would you think, boys and girls, would be used for decorative purposes? Decoration in homes, making carpets or little mats or rugs? Yes, you're right. I think it would be the Nguni because it's got such a beautiful pattern on it. What about, there we go. Sorry, it just disappeared off the screen. What about our, the horns? Do you think Nguni farmers take off or burn the little calves' horns to stop them from growing? No, you're right. They actually like their horns. So they use that also once they've used the beef from the animal as decorative purposes. Right. Thank you for listening along. Let's look at the next slide to see what products we get from cattle. We get beef that we make certain things in our home with for cooking. We use for cooking, and then we get products in our home that we can use for decoration and even wearing. Let's have a look at the next slide.